I shared some of my paranormal experiences last week, and I have more to tell. And I actually have some things that I have left out, and I'd like to share that. By beginning of last week, I had mentioned the apartments I lived in, and one night it was probably about 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, and I was sleeping upstairs with my pup, and the door of my bedroom closet had made a noise, and we both kind of looked that way, and I seen the doorknob turn, and the door had opened up, and I just kind of looked at it, and my dog looked at it, and just went back to bed. Nothing else happened. Well, when I lived in those apartments, I want to kind of recap on what I do for a living and my side job. It kind of fits in with some of the things I'm going to talk about. I am a fabricator by trade, and I've been doing that for almost 25 years. I assemble dump trucks and put them together in hydraulics and plows and everything. But I also make masks and props on the side. And I got involved with that by someone I seen, and she led me to a person who owns a haunted house called Fright Manor, and they needed an artist, and it was one of my first things I actually done that got me initially going for what I do on the side. Well, what had happened one time at the haunted house is I used to, well, let me recap it. I used to design rooms and do like props and things for the haunt. And I did that for 9 years. And I had access to the building, and I go in and work in the building anytime I wanted. And one night I went over to the house, and I had took a friend with me because he was interested in it. Well, I was showing around the haunt, and what I mean haunt, it's an entertainment where kids go and get scared. And I went to show my friend around, and I had turned the lights off. And when I turned the lights off, we was walking down this long hallway, and on the outside of the building, they had out street lights, so you can kind of see down the hallway a little bit. But I seen just out of this wall, it was like somebody was stepping out of the wall. I just seen like one leg and a boot, and it kind of took me by surprise. I didn't really feel anything that night in a place, because sometimes when I was there, I would have eerie feelings about the place, and especially in one area that was on the far end of the building. But I kind of gasped, and my friend, he was asking me what was up, and I was like, I swear I just seen this half of a leg go through the wall. And I didn't think none of it, and we just left. Well, that was one incident that happened there. Well, other things had happened there. Wasn't really anything paranormal things that I seen or smell. But like I said, one section of the building, and I don't know if it was a coincident thing or what, but next to that building was a Masonic building, and there was right at the door that went right to the Masonic building next door. There's always this heavy feeling in that area. And I didn't like to work in that area when I designed rooms. It always felt like I was just suffocated. Well, I worked at that place after work about 3-4 times a night, from 4 or 5 hours a night after work. And a lot of times I was by myself. And one of the rooms that I was working on one night, went to the back section where I was talking about, and came back, and I just felt like all these people all just all around me, and I felt suffocated. It was so bad that I had to leave. I can't explain it. I didn't see anything, didn't hear anything that night. But I mean, there was a lot of occurrences happened at that haunt, and there was a couple people that I used to hang around with from there. And this is a time period that I used to ghost hunt a lot, and we've been to Waverly and bed and breakfast and things that happen there, which I'll mention. But I had started dating, which my girlfriend now. I met her at the haunted house. And we went to the haunt one night to pick up some stuff to work on at home. And I talked to her about ghosts and whatnot, and she seemed like she was a little denial about it, but then kind of believe. I think it just kind of scared her. But we went there one night to pick up some stuff, and we went in this one section of the room that was kind of towards where I felt all suffocated, but I didn't really feel any heaviness in this area. But we started hearing like banging noises and just started getting an odd, creepy feeling. And I felt like somebody was walking up this one hallway. Because in the haunted house, you had a lot of actor hallways, and then you had the rooms. So it was almost kind of like a maze. And she looked at me and was so scared. She's like, let's go, let's get this stuff. I'm like, it's all right. I told her it's okay. I'm like, there's nothing here. Yes, I heard things here before and stuff, but you're going to be fine. Well, she turned around, and I didn't see it, but she seen it. On the adjacent room, there was a bright light, what she said, that went from nothing, they got real big, and then went back nothing again. Almost kind of like how I mentioned my father that night that he was buried, how he went towards my mother. It just went from nothing to real big and went towards my mom. Kind of the same thing she was describing. But I heard banging and things like that. And I've never really smelled anything odd in that building. But another friend of mine, he had heard things in that building. And this, I don't really know how old it was. I know it was built a little bit before the 50s, if I remember right, what I was told by the owner. But there was one more incident that I remember is my friend Chris and my girlfriend were on the outside of the building. It was at night. And on the outside of the building, there's this long kind of like walkway, and it had 4x4 beams that kind of held up the overhang. And there was lights that went down so many feet. Well, there was no storm out or nothing. It was a calm night. Well, the overhead lights, and they'd never done this, they started flickering. And we kind of all looked at each other because we didn't know why it was doing that. And when that did that, I just happened to look to my left, and all the way down towards the end of the building, which is probably about 30 to 50 feet away from where we were, I seen this shadow person. It was almost not really a dark shadow person, but kind of almost full-blown apparition, but you can see through it. And it looked like an older gentleman. And he was on the right side, almost towards the street, and was walking towards the building and walked right through the wall. And I looked at Chris and Lori, and I was like, did you just see that? And they were like, no, but we're getting an odd feeling. So, I mean, it didn't really freak me out or them out. We just kind of talked and went our way. But, yeah, there was something definitely odd about that building. And I never really looked it up. I just know that the Masonic building was next door. And I don't know if that has anything to do with it, because I'm sure there was a lot of traffic that went in between those buildings. But that was the haunted house, one of the stories. And another one of my stories that happened when I ghost hunted a lot was with Ryan, the Fright Manor Haunted House's son, the owner's son. We went ghost hunting at an old bed and breakfast. It was probably late 1800s, 1900s when it was built. And the only thing that really happened there was upstairs. We all got together. We had some K2 meters, and we was in the bedroom, and other ghost hunters had experienced things in the master bedroom. And when we used our K2 meters, it right at the door entrance around the bed, but it was just right by the post that the K2 meter was going off. So turn the lights off, went back up later on that night. We got nothing. So what was by that bedpost? I have no clue. So I stayed in it for a while, and it was a really neat place to go to. And when I left the bedroom, I went down the hall. I went to the other bedroom. Well, I was in there for a while, and another friend of Ryan's was with us, and he was in the same room. Well, I had just so happened to walk around the bed that was right in the entryway. When you came into the room, there was a closet and then the bed right in front. I walked around the bed, and then I turned around, and I seen a black shadow had gone in from the closet, through the wall, and into the bedroom. And that time, Ryan's friend was in the bathroom, and the towel had dropped off of the hanger. Now, could the towel have been barely on there? Yes. But, however, there was a lamp there that was connected up to the light switch only. And the lights were off. The lights came on. And at that time, I smelled, it's the only time I remember smelling anything putrid like this. And it smelled like just sulfur in that room. And I can't explain it. And it only lasted maybe like 5 to 10 seconds. And I went and talked to Ryan's friend. I can't remember his name. But we got together, me, him, and Ryan didn't really get anything. And it was just me and his buddy that got the experience that night at that place. And another experience I had, I went ghost hunting, which this is all when I worked at Fright Manor Haunted House. And I went ghost hunting at Waverly Hills Hospital one time, and I took a recorder, and that's pretty much all I took that night. Well, there was a big group there because you have to have like 10 people at a time to go, and supposedly there's no power in the building except for the exit signs. And I believe we were on the 3rd or 4th floor. I can't remember exactly. But we were with the crowd, and they were loud. And the girl I was with, I told her, let's go our opposite way because they're too noisy. So I had my recorder with me, and I was recording and everything. And we went down to the end of the hallway, and there's a staircasing. And right next to the staircasing is the old operating room. And across from the operating room was another room. Well, we went in the operating room for a while, and I really didn't hear anything or see anything. So we decided to go to the next room. And now it's quiet, so we can actually concentrate on sounds, what have you. And we're sitting there probably about 30 minutes, and then I started hearing shuffling noises, like somebody scooting their feet across the concrete floor. Well, I asked her, I'm like, did you hear that? She's like, yeah, I guess. And she was kind of freaking out. Oh, that's funny. But I got up. As soon as I got up, I opened the door, went across where I heard the noises. There was nobody around. And I came out of that room, came in a hallway, and for a split second, I thought I had seen somebody in a white lab coat just kind of walk and fade away. Not 100% sure on it because it happened so quick. But that's what kind of image popped in my head when I thought I'd seen. And I walked in a hallway and went down by the stairs, and it seemed like a lot of tension right there. Like somebody did not want us there. So we end up walking down to the other wing, and we were by ourselves. I had the recorder. I was recording in every room, asking questions and whatnot. And later on, when I played my recorder, I got a couple times where I heard doors open and shutting in the area where we were, and nobody was there besides me and her. And I also got some instrument sounds, like medical sounds. I don't know what it was. It was like I heard this ping noise. It just kept on going ping, ping. I have no clue what it was. There was nothing around. My recorder didn't do that. And I don't know. But I haven't done any ghost hunting like that anymore. And I think sometimes it can be dangerous. It depends on what you do, what have you. But another thing that I recall is recapping back in my teenage years. It's not really paranormal. I guess I don't know how you describe it. It's not really ghost things or anything, but it's just something that happened to me, and I've never experienced like that. I never knew anybody that experienced anything. Is I had got into a fight when I was around 17 years old over some girl, and I remember the guy coming up. We were arguing, and I remember kind of punching each other a few times, and I blacked out. And when I blacked out, I actually astral projected. I went up and I seen myself up above this light where we had fought for probably 3-5 seconds. And then I came back out and it was over and he was gone and I don't remember any of it. Now, I don't know what, it's not really ghost or anything, but it's something just odd that kind of happened to me before. And as far as that goes, as far as ghost hunting goes, that's all I can recall on that. And the latest after that, after I moved the apartments, what I talked about earlier, I bought a house and nothing really happened in this house for quite a few years. I've lived there about 7 years now, until about 2 or 3 years ago. And something just kind of sparked in this house, and I don't know what. Like I say, I haven't ghost hunted in about 9 years. But it first started with my girlfriend. She had told me a couple of things, and I told her I haven't heard anything, which doesn't mean anything. But like I say, it came from her. It always kind of creeped her out, and she was a little bit denial of things because I think it scared her. But she told me one night that she was getting ready to go to bed, and this was probably about, she goes to bed about 11 or 12 o'clock at midnight. And as soon as she started walking down the hallway, she seen this shadow man, and then in front of him was like this 3-4 foot tall, 4 or 5 foot long creature that kind of looked like a 4-legged beast of some sort. And she said it kind of looked like it was being held back by this shadow figure. And it kind of went towards her and disappeared. And it scared her so bad, she turned the lights on and told me, and I'm like, what are you talking about? I ain't never heard anything in the house. I never seen anything. And that happened here about a couple of years ago. And it was around that time, off and on, I started having night terror. And I don't remember them all, but she said that I would lay there and say the Lord's Prayer in my sleep when these things would happen. And I don't remember it. Like, plain as day, she said. I'm like, okay. But later on, about, let's say probably about a year after that, I was sleeping in the bedroom. And the bed at that time was facing towards the door. And I woke up and I seen kind of the same thing she described. And it looked really kind of like as a black shadow of it, but I didn't see the man behind it. I just seen that creature. And it was like a black shadow, like I said, and it seemed like it was like really hairy. And it seemed like almost like the face of it was real quick. It was like probably 3 seconds when I seen it and disappeared. And the face of it almost kind of reminded me of hyena-ish, pig, boar, but no tusk or anything. I don't know what it was. But I seen that, and then I seen another time in my bedroom, by my bed, a shadow figure. I couldn't tell if the man, female, whatever. It was just like a black shadow and went around my bed and then through my bedroom window. And these things started to make me ticked off. And I told it to leave and get out of here. And I actually prayed upon God to make it leave. And I never seen him since. She never seen it since. But lately, about a couple months ago, I've heard a few things, banging noises and stuff while I'm sitting in the living room. It's always in a general area around my kitchen, family room area. And these aren't like banging noises like you just drop something off the floor, whatever. This is like pounding on the wall like a couple, 2-3 times, and then it goes away. That's happened a few times. And within this last year's happened, I would say probably about, so what I've heard anyway, is about 3 times. And also, Lori had told me that she's heard female voices in the house. And I've never heard them. And she was questioning it and say, well, was that the neighbors? I'm like, how is that going to be in the house? You would hear it through outside. Yes, but I'm like, it's not in the house. Where do you hear it at? She said, around the kitchen, family room area. Oh, I haven't heard them. That's what I told her. And well, one night I got off work and Lori was gone at work. And when I got home, nobody was here. And I had gotten into the tub and I heard these 2 women's voices talking. And I thought Lori had gotten home talking. She was talking on the phone. I got up because, it was pretty loud. And there was nobody in the house. My dog, my cat didn't act any different. They didn't even care. And the thing of it is, it seemed like I'm not bothered by those 2 women talking. It was just those black shadows that really bothered me. Well, that's not the only time I heard those voices. I don't sleep well at night because I got back issues. Well, I get up like 2-3 times a night. And one night I got up and it was probably about 3 o'clock in the morning, 2-3 o'clock in the morning. And I went to go lay down on a couch. And I wasn't all the way asleep yet. And I heard, plain as day, a woman's voice in my family room going, hello? And that's all I heard. I kind of got up and looked. Nobody there. It didn't really scare me. It didn't bother me. Sometimes these things don't scare me and bother me. But sometimes, like the black shadows, they bother me. And I have it seems like when those are around, I have night terrors. And I'm glad that they don't appear no more because those really bother me. They kind of scare me. But that's That's all that I can really think of that I've had happen here. Oh, except for there was one thing that happened last week. I don't know. I can't prove really what it was. We have solo cups that are on a kitchen counter, and they've been there all day, all night for a whole week. Me and Lori went in the living room and watched the TV, and then this was about 9 at night, and I heard a noise like a solo cup had fallen off the counter. We get up because there's been noises like that off and on lately, and I don't know who it is or what it is. I think it's those two women, and I don't know how they're connected here, or if they follow me from somewhere. I have no clue. But I go in there. There's no solo cup or anything on the floor, and I didn't see anything fall off the stack that had been there all week. So that's really it on all the experiences that I can think of. I've had a lot through my life and still continue. And the only thing I can really say is if you're really messing with Ouija boards, like I had a few times back when I was a teenager in the 80s, stop. Those things are so dangerous. It might be fun and games to you, but they're not. You can draw out things that you have no clue what they are, no control, and then you might even have to have a priest come and do an exorcism of your house and blessings. They're dangerous. Even ghost hunting at times can be dangerous. And I've thought about ghost hunting and stuff, but I'm not really sure if I want to anymore because I got enough things going on right now. It seems like again. And that's really all I know what to say. Honestly, just protect yourself and God bless.
If you've had a paranormal experience and would like to be a guest on the show, please contact us by going to myparax.com. That's myparaex.com. Thanks for listening.